Hey guys, Bjthebrave here, back with another Warpforge FORGECLASH episode, and this time I'm going to be piloting Ghazghkull mag Uruk Thraka, which is particularly great because I get to say Ghazghkull mag Uruk Thraka quite a lot, and I'm going to be going up against the Ecclesiarch, and this week the Ecclesiarch is going to be taking one of the top decks in the meta, which is an Eldar, specifically a Ghaelyn tempo deck. So I think this matchup today is great because it's really going to show you one of the kind of meta matchups that we can expect now that the new patch has dropped. Speaking of which, the new patch has dropped. Exciting times, I know. I hope this video is going to be really useful for you to start diving in and already seeing how the meta has changed. If you like this content, then check out the previous FORGECLASH episodes that we did, and don't forget to please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 500 subs, so if you haven't, then please do, and check out the Ecclesiarch's perspective afterwards. Okie dokie. So Ghazghkull. So as we know, Ghazghkull took a big power surge, if you like, from this latest balance update. He now has a changed warlord talent, and he can obviously splat out two little grots if he has an empty board, and it really has put Ghazghkull into a very powerful place in the meta. Now I can tell you I've seen about 8 different versions of, no, probably 3 or 4 different types of Ghazghkull deck, all of which are powerful, and then various different versions of that. I'm going to make a different video all about that because there's too much to get into. But today what we're going to do is we're going to play a deck that I've been talking about with Cube, who's one of the best Ork players, so shout out to Cube. And this is just an early version. We've already kind of evolved it, and if you stick around at the end when I debrief the deck and look at some lessons learned, I'm actually going to show a few suggestions for how I think you can improve this deck. However, what we've got here is a mech control, so it's a Ghazghkull control deck that's basically making use of some of the mech buffs that we saw in the recent balance patch. So what am I talking about there? Well, obviously the spanner in particular got quite a good buff in that every time we get this off now, the vehicle buffs are insane. Anyone who's used this will already know that this is just like, I think this might actually get nerfed because it is so powerful, so powerful. So to accompany him, we've got things like the grot tanks, we've got a death copter, we've got the double death dread, and of course, not to forget the battle wagons, which are also vehicles, as is the war bike. So we've actually got quite a lot of vehicles. In addition, we run the burner boys, because if we're going to run the spanners, then why not run the burner boys? And of course, a good solid 5-drop, great body, and has that synergy again with making our vehicles cheaper, and also another trigger for burner boys. So there's a really strong kind of mech vehicle and burner package that sits in this deck. Now, one of the cards that is perhaps going to be a little bit of a surprise to you guys is Cloud of Smoke. We have dropped some things that we saw in the Face Ripper version of Control, things like the Green Horde. We do not run that in this deck, and the reason we don't run it is because it's very inconsistent. You don't have a way to draw cards with Ghazghkull like you do with Face Ripper, and in my opinion it's a mistake to run the Green Horde. You could get away with one in certain builds, but we've actually dropped it from this deck, and what that also means is we've been able to drop the standard true drops that we usually run. So we're talking about the Slugger Boys, we're talking about the Storm Boys. We actually don't need to run those. We don't have the Veteran Storm Boy at 6 either, so the Storm Boys lose that synergy, and that actually frees up quite a few cards, and one of the ones we've put in is Cloud of Smoke. Now when you think about it, Cloud of Smoke says it blinds a random enemy. We all know how powerful blind was in the last meta with Space Marines, obviously with the Octavia 1-drop that used to blind and kind of cheat tempo. Well, we've got it here in Orks, guys. We've got it here in Orks, because when you think about it, if we have one vehicle on the board, which is, you know, what we're aiming for really, anything else is just a bonus and greedy, but more realistically, we get one vehicle down, then for 2 mana we blind two opponents, and quite often, I would say 85% of the board states, you know, the opponent will only have 2 units down. So it's really good, and it's a nice little tech card that goes into the deck. We obviously have the 2 Warbikers along with Makari, so that's an alternative finish to the Rock Invasion, and we also play Ardshell, a very good, I call him like the big Lich Guard. He kind of does what a Lich Guard does. Obviously, he costs 7 mana, and he can't be brought back to life. But what he does do is every single turn he gives you this little stratagem, which for 2 mana allows you to kind of keep buffing him basically, or buff somebody else. So it's a very strong card. It's very good, and also it's going to be something the Eldar struggle with. You know, it's a bit of a mountain to move. So that's the deck. What we're looking to do is try and keep up with the Eldar. Ghaelyn is very good at building early tempo with lots and lots of guardians and shuriken damage, and then he gets stones from all that, and then he can cheat tempo out later. So we've got to try and keep up in the early game. If we can drag it out to the late game, then we become quite favoured. We've got to watch our health though, because he does have big finishes in like the Wailing Doom and the Hemlock fighter as well. So as long as we can keep our health sort of around that kind of like above 12 range, then we should be stronger in the late game. Okay, we are going to make some mistakes in these games, guys. Look, one of the things it's a new meta, and there's mechanics that are new, and I'm still getting used to them too. And we just thought we don't want to show you like some fake polished kind of thing. The idea of this series is that it's fun and that you can actually learn from it. You know, so if you want to point out all the mistakes that are made on both sides, then great. That means you're seeing those mistakes, you're seeing those errors, which means they're not going to happen in your gameplay. So, you know, part of the driver for this series is that we all kind of learn. So just quickly then, before we jump into the first game, this is kind of like my Ghaelyn deck, but I think what is a bit unusual here is I run Reclaim the Stars and Infinity Circuit. Normally they run the one Hemlock here, and they run things like Webway Gates or one of the 3 drops, like the Banshee Mask and things like that. So, like I said, we can expect a very strong early start to the game. Lots of Guardians. He's going to trade well with us early as well, because he's going to have things like the Wind Rider and Shroudrunner, which can destroy our units from hand. So all we're doing is we're trying to keep up with tempo and not let the board get completely out of control in the early game. We also need to consider stones management, so best we can to manage stones, and we also need to be constantly looking. So for example, when he spends his stones, he is down to 0. That might be the turn to go wide, because then he can't Eldritch Storm. So Eldritch Storm is a problem for us. We need to think about that, particularly on our Rock Invasion, obviously. And we also need to, again, be conscious of that kind of end game play with things like the Wailing Doom, and even the Exarch. Where's he gone? This guy. You know, he can do 8 damage as well. So it can have quite a powerful finish if we're not conscious of our health. So as I say, I hope you enjoyed these games. I hope you find them useful. And at the end, I'm going to do a little summary and a little debrief from the games, and then we are going to make a few recommendations for how we can change the Eldar deck. But without further ado, let's get into some games. So Orc Mech Control versus Tempo Ghaelyn of the Aeldari. So I think we want to keep the Spanner. Ardshell is actually very good against Eldar. So is Cloud of Smoke, but I think we'll trade that for now. Okay. We don't have much in the early game here, but obviously what we do have is Ghazghkull's new hero power, so we're going to go ahead and attack. Actually, I do this sometimes on the first turn because people might think it's the Ghazghkull more tempo aggro, my Big Gaz build that I've done videos about. If you've not watched them, then go watch my Big Gaz games. Really good deck for ladder because it's fast. So sometimes hitting first is like quite a good plan on ladder, but thinking about it, the Ecclesiarch does know that we're running more of a control build, so I probably shouldn't have attacked face there, to be honest. This is a bit annoying because we're going to have to give him his first stone. There was no way around that as well, right? Oh, wait a minute. Have I just messed that up? You have. Oh. Okay, I messed that up. We're off to a bad start. We should have killed off the Gretchen and then we could have replayed 2 basically. Okay, so I think we don't attack. I think we don't attack him here because that way he doesn't die and then he can't claim the stone. I mean, we've really messed this start up for sure. But this this probably helps a little bit. He's in the gate already. Interesting. Okay. So we're still attacking with we're taking the extra 1 point of damage there just to trigger Mech Boy. Warbiker got the buff. I wouldn't have minded that being on the Snazwagon, to be honest. Ah, we don't have the mucking about, unfortunately. Does that... I never know what... Does it... It doesn't actually tell you what... Oh, it does, doesn't it? So we can get plus range and flank. Plus 4 health. Melee and concussive. Plus 4 health could be good on the Deathcopter, right? I know we could obviously charge that stone, but... This might allow us to set up a spanner play next turn. This might actually survive. It might not, if he attacks with both of those. Or if he does that. Fair enough. Okay. I think we use Will here. Or do we? Let's have a think. What would be the alternative? We could play... We could clear with Snazwagon. Actually. Take 3 to face with this guy. I think I did that wrong again. I should have done this first. I'm really badly misplaying this game. Yeah, what we should have done is used Ghazghkull's power before we dropped the Snaz wagon. So we would, instead of having Makari, we would have basically had 2 grots down. I think that would have been better. So this might be a better will turn, actually. Hardshell is going to be a real problem for Eldar. Do we play Scorcher here? No, I think we're going to just drop these 2. Because Scorcher would still leave that up, and then how do I deal with that? Like, I'd have to tank 5 to face. I'd rather not. It does mean that he can. It does give him a way of getting around this guy there. Yep, I'll do it. Okay, this is looking like some AoE turn. Okay, let's do it properly now. Start with you. Then you. Going into overtime. I've made a lot of mistakes in this game, guys, but you know, that's good. That's good from your perspective. Hopefully you're seeing different lines of play. This is where I miss Face Ripper. Do we want to kill that, or do we want to kill the Guardian? Okay, this is good because okay, that's what we needed. Whew. Okay. Oh, I've done it again. Oh, I'm playing so badly. Making a lot of misplays in this game. So yeah, so he's going to hit face and kill both of these, isn't he? It's a nice clear for him. And now he's going to Wailing Doom. So we're hoping for a blocker from Rock Invasion. We have got the +2 health on our War Boss though from this as well, which is quite good. We could just clear there, right? But I think we're going to go. I think this is the turn to do it. Obviously we know he's going to have... oh, we didn't get the taunt. So I think we've lost. If in his hand he's got Eldritch Storm and Wailing Doom, we lose. I mean, he just needs Wailing Doom actually, doesn't he? Yeah. He's got it. Oh, we played that game badly. So badly. Okay. Do we want to keep no mucking about? I think we do actually.
Cleanse this place. We must protect the craft world.
Nice. Full Guardian off now. Okay, let's do it the correct way this time, shall we? If we'd have done Cloud of Smoke, can he still attack with his... Can he still attack if he's got 0/0 and then get the 2 shuriken damage? I don't know how that interaction works. Cloud of Smoke into 0/0. That's definitely something I'd like to test. So because it's tempo that we're going up against, we really are having to just play as the control. He's the beatdown, and we're just having to, you know, like we did there, just use the knob as a to keep up with the tempo. Basically, he's had such a good early start of his Guardians into Warlock. This is what you want to do with the Ghaelyn deck. He's had a perfect start here, really good. He's playing this bit, this early opening bit really well. But we're not doing bad at sort of keeping up, which is good. I'm actually going to kill the Storm Guardian here, because that's the one with the Shuriken, and yeah, just get rid of the Shuriken damage. He has got 2 stones, so I am expecting one of the big 5 drops. He could play Crimson onto this actually. No, there's the 5 drop. Okay. So we can play this again, right? Like, we could 50-50 the mucking about, but why? Let's just do that instead. Still on 31 health going into turn 7, so that's... From that perspective, we're in a healthy place. Kept up with his early tempo, even though he's had a great early start. I wanted to mech boy this turn, but we can't really do that. I think this is going to be a Scorcher turn. It's not great. I'd really like to be able to at least do 1 melee attack when we've got both Death Dread and Gazmat in hand. So we're still melee and attacking, we took the extra damage, but that makes this cheaper. Cheap Dreadnought incoming. Windrider, yeah. Such a good card. He's probably going to Hemlock this, isn't he? Because he's got the stones for it. I'm really curious. I'm going to do it because, like, oh, it didn't hit it. I still don't know. I really wanted to know whether whether it actually he can even attack if that's 0. Okay, so no Hemlock just yet. We will have in a minute, I think. I mean, we could rock Invasion, but it would be basically gambling, so we can't do that. So we have no way of killing that, do we? So we should just do the no mucking about now then. Oh, so bad. Interesting. Has he picked up Wailing Doom? Wait, what? That must be a misplay on his side, right? Okay, so we got that one back. I don't know what he had in his hand. I'm really looking forward to watching the video from his perspective. Don't forget, guys, we are both filming this so you can watch both sides, and that's honestly what I'd recommend. That's where you're going to get the most value from watching the Forge Clash series if you're really trying to learn the matchups. Okay, so early game. I don't think we want any of this really. Still not had any joy with spanners yet. I'm really missing the Gretchen mob as well.
Cleanse this place. We must protect the craft.
Early webway gate. Interesting. He must have a really bad hand, because that is not what you want to be playing as a tempo Eldar deck. I'm actually quite tempted, you know, to just... I know obviously we can play a Grot tank. I'm actually tempted to just hero power again and pass. Banshee, yeah. Hmm. There's no real aggro coming our way, so there's no need for me to kind of play Spanner as a tempo play. Oh dear. Oh dear, what has happened to his hand in this game? I think we're just going to mucking about that. We're going to mucking about that. I think so. I know it's a bit off curve, but I feel like if he had the Exarch, he would have played it last turn, not the 5-drop naked. Okay, so turn 7 and he still doesn't have... Is this where we regret playing and no mucking about? Obviously you can trade 1 for 1 here. Okay, that's a brilliant play from him. Really good use of Fireheart. This is not a bad Will of Gork turn for us. And then we just take out 1 of the stones. Hand's a little bit clunky again now. Okay, good. This is what we were looking for. I think this is the first time the Squig Buggy's turned up, isn't it? This series. So now we see the chain reaction. I do think that this is like, you don't always see this with Buggy, although we got extremely lucky there. Extremely lucky. But usually you do get this kind of like chain reaction and it kills itself more often than not. Good thing is though, it's not focused on the spanner. Can we get another vehicle? I don't think so. And this sets us up for a nice rock invasion, I think. Did he use a storm? Did we see him use a storm? I think he has used a storm, has he? And he's up to 2 now. Although he's on no stones, so now would be a good time to try and cash in, right? Need the Vanguard. No. No Vanguard. So he can sacrifice his 2 Storm Guardians here to get the stones for the Storm, and I think that's exactly what he's going to be doing. He's going to go after the high health units. He's probably going to hit the 6, yeah, that's what he's doing. It's well played on his part. And then he plays the Storm, and then he can use his guy to clear off anything that might survive. Not that I think anything will. We might have 1 knob. Yeah, we got 1 knob that survived all that. Oh no, we didn't. A few more. That's got Shuriken, so that can kill any of these. It'll probably kill. Yeah. We really need a burner boy, and we get one. Thank God. Mech Boy's looking pretty beefy. Obviously we could have chucked the Warbiker in there. Maybe we should, but I feel like we might, because we've got Makari, we might be able to win this game with a Warbiker finisher now, especially because we've already used Rock Invasion, right? Did he have the blast? Yeah. Ouch. Oh, that thing. If we could get smoke to hit that, that would be good. So I think this is a Snazwagon turn, right? Sorry, I was just trying to think through some options there, but obviously with the double vehicle down, that meant we did get quite a lot of value from Cloud of Smoke there. So he's used Hemlock. It's really only got his Wailing Doom or another. He's got a second Storm actually. He's got the 3 stones as well, so this could be Eldritch Storm. Nope, he's going to Doom. Oh my god, has he got oh, I thought he had the Banshee mask. He would have won. So 6, yeah, so 6, 12, 14, done, isn't it? If I can add up, I believe we are done ski. GG. Well played. Thank you, Ecclesiarch. So there we have it, guys. What a series. I think this one is definitely one to watch both perspectives, because I know from speaking to the Ecclesiarch that they were very, very close games. I made some horrible mistakes in game 1, real amateur mistakes, and you know the game in this version of the patch is very new. Literally still been playing mainly with Face Ripper, so some of the Ghazghkull mechanics I'm obviously still making errors on, but that's fine. We had some really close games. I think we managed to show the strategy with this deck quite well, particularly in terms of keeping up with the tempo of the Eldar and maintaining our kind of health and trading the board so that we can kind of come on strong at the end of the game. Now, I did promise you that I would talk about some changes that I would make if I was going to take this deck to ladder, so I'm going to do that now. But just quickly to say, if you have enjoyed these videos, once again, please hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We're trying to hit that 500 subscribers, so I appreciate all you guys who already have subbed, and thanks for all the positive feedback on the series. So a couple of changes that I would make from this deck. So one of the things that was obvious to me from playing this deck is that I really missed the Gretchen mobs. We do run double Arders Nails, and for me, particularly as we're not running things like Slugger Boys and Storm Boys, we don't have like or we don't have Grots for that matter, so we don't actually just have any small bodies we can play. And Gretchen mob is very powerful, quickly putting down 3 Vanguards, especially when you've got the combo with Arders Nails. I think that has to go in this deck. I'm also slightly underwhelmed by Grot tanks. I'll tell you why. We used to run Grot tanks anyway, even without the strong mech package that we've got here. But now that we've got Ghazghkull's kind of improved Warlord talent, do we really need Grot tanks? We certainly don't need them on turn 3. And then if you say, yeah, but BJ, we're looking for that combo with a spanner, I'd say, yeah, but actually, I'd rather do that with better tanks, to be honest. You know, better vehicles that can actually have a bit more survivability. So what I would be tempted to do is to make a few changes, and in this version, you can see what I've done is I've actually dropped the Grot tanks, put in some Gretchen mobs. I've also reduced the Cloud of Smoke to 1. I think this is really powerful, but I'm not sure whether 2's correct. I'm sure if you go back and watch, there were one of those games where the Cloud of Smoke was a little bit clogged up in my hand. When we got an effective one off, it was really good though, so I definitely think 1 is correct. I'm going to play around with that and test 1 and test 2 a little bit more. I'm not sure, but for now I'm going to kind of like go back to 1, and as I say, I've put in the Gretchen mobs, great synergy with Arders Nails, and also great in that late game when we're trading and it's getting really, really close, to be able to drop the Vanguards at that stage of the game when a lot of maybe the Eldritch Storm's gone, for example. It can be a really, really powerful card actually in the late game, the Gretchen mob as well. What I've also then done is added a second Deathcopter, because if we're going to drop the Grot tanks, then we need some more powerful tanks, and I'm even going to try a Killer Can. The big thing that I want to try in the Killer Can is that For example, Mech Boy does discount vehicles, so I had it done against me on ladder actually, where someone played Mech Boy and then obviously attacked, and it made the killer can down to 4. And then obviously killer can has tide, so you can actually play out 2 killer cans for cheaper, and that's really powerful. And especially if you've got, obviously going to start getting spanner combos off, that pretty much gives you another win condition. It could even be a good thing to kind of do after Rock Invasion, so they think, I've got rid of his kind of main win con, and then you drop something like that, and oh my god. They've just out of resources to deal with it. So I've kind of made that change. That's how I want to go with it. I've also put in the second Squig Buddy. I think the Squig Buggy is just like too good at the minute. And again, gets discounted from Gazmech. Again, benefits from Arda's Nails. So there, and I dropped 1 Death Dread because just at the 7 cost, I think the Death Dread's good. It's in this package, but I think 1 is plenty. I think you'd either run 2 and drop Ard Shell, or you run 1 and keep Ard Shell. Right now, I'm not happy to drop Ard Shell. It was really, really good against the Eldars we saw there. So they're the changes, guys. That's what I'd recommend. Go and have some fun with this on ladder. It's a really, really powerful deck if you want to play Ghazghkull control. I still think Face Ripper's probably my preference for control, but that's a very different build to this. So they actually are very, very different types of decks to play. Orks are in a great place right now, guys. There's so many different ways you can play them, and I'm going to make a separate video on that. But thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the games, and we'll see you next week. Please like and subscribe.